It's a Thursday. It is the 21st day of March 2024. Well, enjoy the mild temperatures while they last, because after about 48 hours from now, the entire western United States is going to be getting a lot colder and a lot more unsettled, and we're going to embark on a very busy, very active pattern, not only in the west, but really across the whole country. We're already going to start to see the colder weather begin to leak into the northern parts of the plains and the northern Rockies here today and into tomorrow. But for the central and southern Rockies and central and southern plains, the Great Basin and most of the west, that cold air won't get into there today or tomorrow. So for a lot of you, the next couple of days, very spring-like. For those up north, across Montana, the northern counties of Wyoming and the Dakotas, the cold air is coming in and will be overrun by Pacific moisture. And the first event, it's not going to be big, but light to moderate snow with this first event for those areas will be taking place over the next 48 hours, while folks further south won't know that anything is going on because it's still going to stay mild. But another trough swings through over the weekend, especially by late Saturday, overnight Saturday into Sunday and Monday. Much colder air will come down the Front Range and then pour into parts of areas west of the divide. And we're going to have, at first, a bit of a disorganized storm, but as it gets more organized, it is going to wallop the north central plains with some very heavy snow. In fact, there could be some of the heaviest snow that some areas of the upper Midwest have seen all winter with this storm. And this is not just one system we're going to be dealing with over the next 2 to 3 weeks. There are more coming. So much colder weather will come on in late in the weekend and early next week. And then next week is going to be a bit of a roller coaster. We've got this cold shot coming in late in the weekend into early next week, a brief warm up middle of the week, then another storm system arriving probably late Thursday night into Friday across the region again. So livestock interests, be prepared, especially anyone in calving operations. This is especially true for Montana, the Dakotas, northeast Nebraska, parts of Iowa, Minnesota. I think the far northern counties and northeast counties of Wyoming kind of need to watch things for what will be some much colder wintry weather coming on in that may be stressful. We've got that next storm late next week. We've got another storm system that we're going to watch right around Easter Sunday into the first couple of days of April. So there's a lot on the table, a lot of moving parts. Speaking of moving, yes, the snow could move. Here's a great shot. Thanks, Paula, for sending this in. That very heavy, wet snow that fell on the east slopes of the mountains, making for snow wheels or snow rollers. And here was just a classic one near Woods Landing, west of Laramie on Highway 230. Look at that. Textbook snow roller, snow wheel coming down the mountain. Luckily, it stopped before it got to the road. Other great shots, still some lingering moisture there in the desert southwest, producing some virga and some light showers. Boy, that sky looks like spring, doesn't it? And it will look like spring in many areas today. But up north, we're going to start to see that colder air come in, interacting with that Pacific moisture. And then by Saturday morning, this is today, by Saturday morning, not a lot has changed, but that low gets in a little bit closer to the Pacific Northwest coast. We still have southwest flow here. This is why through Saturday, it's still going to be quite mild in the central and southern Rockies and plains, but turning much, much colder up north. And there you can see it. The cold air just stops. This is by 5 p.m. Friday. By 5 p.m. Friday, the boundary of the cold air looks like this. So if you're left of the line there, you're just looking at great spring weather continuing here for a couple more days, but a different story once you get further north and east. But that cold air, while it does stall there, it's poised and ready to pounce later. It just needs an opportunity to come that way, and it will. This is the precipitation forecast through Saturday morning. Looks just like the maps we've shown you all week, really affecting those northern areas. And that's where the first salvo, the first round of snow, will be the most noticeable over the next couple of days through Saturday morning, where that overrunning is going to be taking place up here. Then when we take a look at the latter half of the forecast period for the weekend, This disorganized trough comes in off the west coast. It's this system here, and it gets fragmented a little bit. But as it comes in and slides southeast, what it will do is drag that colder air that's up here, pull it south, and open the door for that colder air to spill across the U.S. What's going to happen is that much colder air spills in from the north. We're going to have a winter storm situation break out up into these areas right here. And as I'll show you here in a little bit, we're going to have a severe weather outbreak in this part of the country here. Now, this is classic March. You have in March and April a big uptick in severe weather. Tornado activity really ramps up in March. And as you get into spring, as we have the big contrast between the cold in the northern latitudes still wanting to come in and much warmer temperatures in the lower latitudes forming because of the changing seasons. It's typical. That's exactly what we'd expect to happen. And the way the pattern is going to be across the U.S. over the next couple of weeks, there's going to be a lot of weather-related news. Some good, some bad. Now, when we take a look at where we're going to be by late Monday, we have a classic setup for severe weather here. Then on the backside, major winter storm going to be occurring up here, and much colder, just blustery conditions coming in on the backside. These storms are going to be tracking a little bit more north than what we've seen lately. So that's why the northern areas are going to be feeling the biggest impacts. So this is an animation of how the cold evolves from today through Tuesday night of next week. So you can see the cold air kind of holds up there, but by Sunday into Monday and Tuesday, it really pours south. And where you see the purple there, you're looking at some really, really cold conditions coming in. Notice that at first it gets into areas east of the divide, but into the Great Basin, into the desert Southwest, you're going to be seeing that colder air come on in as well. So this is going to be quite a change from where we've been lately. And this is why when you take this next round, this is round 2, you can see the precipitation is heavier. And again, it's affecting the same areas that were hit with this first one. Then you can see this concentration where the low gets better organized here, where the snow is going to be the heaviest. But we have pockets of snow that'll be in the mountains and possibly getting out into the plains. And as we have mentioned in earlier podcasts this week, if the storm gets better organized, there may be more weather here. We just kind of have to see what transpires. So when we take a look cumulatively, this is for the next 6 days. This is both storm systems put together, and you can see a lot of pink across the northern plains and the northern Rockies, a lot of pink in the mountains, and scattered amounts of snow across the lower elevations. Then when we take a look at where the biggest target's going to be, right now, boy, look at Minnesota. Those are inches of snow that you're seeing there. You can see a large part of South Dakota, North Dakota, parts of north central and northeastern Nebraska and Iowa, into Wisconsin there. And also look at New England. New England going to have a late season winter storm that could be very impactful up there. Snow across the Great Lakes. So we're not done with winter weather by any means, not only here, but across a lot of the lower 48. Wanted to talk briefly about how this first system coming out Sunday into next week is going to cause severe weather. When you go out to the 4 to 8 day severe weather outlook, you're really pushing the boundary, but we know this setup. We know this happens in the particular pattern. So what will happen is, this is for Sunday. For Sunday and then into Monday, this part of the nation right here is going to be looking out for severe thunderstorms, tornado activity, and all of those things, and that will spread east probably by Tuesday. So if you're a weather watcher, we're about ready to embark on a lot of weather watching across the lower 48 states. Now, going out further, this is by next Friday. I think we're going to have a robust low, or if this is not an organized low, it'll be a strong front coming through the region late Thursday into Friday of next week. That's going to be followed up by this guy that's going to come in right around Easter Sunday into Monday and Tuesday of the following week. This could be a big weather maker. So the hits will keep coming in the 7 to 10 day period. Have yourself a good Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow.